Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Saturday Witchy Book Club series. This is The Outer Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Penzak. We are going through a third of Chapter 13, Lesson 9, The Art of Spellcraft. We are going to page 313. We're going to stop at the subheading of Astrological Spellcrafting. This is a huge chapter, and we just kind of needed to break that up because, well, it's a lot for me to read, and I'm a slow reader. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your beverage, whatever it may be. This is about the only thing that's going to keep me going until I finish this this video, because after this, I have to just slightly edit this, hopefully, not too much, and then it is time for bed. So it's gotta just keep me running until, until I can hit upload on this, and then put my head on a soft pillow. One thing I wanted to say before going any further is the Christo-Pagan Sunday might be a little bit on the late side. I might have to shoot that after, excuse me. I might have to shoot that on Sunday morning. I'm going to try to shoot that after work on Saturday, but if I need to move it just a little bit, it will be still airing on Sunday. There we go. So, I want to let y'all know that it will be up on Sunday. Just might be a little bit on the later side. Other than that, if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's right down here. Hit that bell notification to get notified possibly of whenever I have new videos come out. What else? Hit that like button if you like these videos. Hit that dislike if you dislike these videos. It doesn't matter to me, but it appeals, it appeals to the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. Also, leave a comment letting me know your thoughts and feelings of this chapter. Wow. I can barely speak tonight. And I had a little bit of dinner stuck in my teeth. We had chicken and potatoes, and it was good. So, let's move on. We are on page 293. This is, again, chapter 13, lesson 9, The Art of Spellcraft. As per our usual, we are going to look at the first sentence that is stated in this chapter and see how it starts off this chapter. Does it give a good does it have a good setting and whatnot? We're going to basically judge the writing on the first sentence or two. And he has written here, as there is a science to spells with the basic formula for the foundation of magical manifestation, there is also an art. Within the foundation is a great amount I'm sorry, I am horrible at reading today. Within the foundation is a great amount of space to creatively build and express yourself. Okay, so even though I am terrible at reading this, he does start this off in a very good way. I like how he says, yes, this is still an art and a science. Yes, we talked about the science behind it, but now we're going to talk about the art. Now, the art is the situation where you can get creative about your spellcraft, about the way that you perform your magics. Now, the science of it is kind of basic. This is what it is. It is what it is. And we're not really going to be able to change that. However, there is also an art to this. This is the situation where, yes, you can change it up a little bit here and there. And I like overall the way that he does open up this chapter. So, my stamp of approval, which was never asked for and never needed, but given anyway. Moving on to the next page, 294, under the heading Types of Magic. He writes, magic is divided into many different categories by esoteric scholars. These divisions are arbitrary and are only used to explain different techniques. Ultimately, magic is magic. Absolutely, totally agree. Some people will say, well, this is kitchen witchery. This is kitchen magic. This is, herbal magic. I'm trying to pull ones out of the thin air here. This is, uh, you know, oh, let's see. This is energetic magic. People give like different types of magic examples and whatnot. Um, Besides the light and dark type of magic, which we're going to talk about later, believe you me. Um, but at the end of the day, no matter what the esoteric scholars say, this is this type of magic, this is Celtic magic, this is Italian magic, the strega, this is, Chinese magic or Asian rooted magic, this is Middle Eastern, doesn't matter, it is still magic. So, yes, the concept of magic being magic is correct, and I totally agree with that. Let's move on. The most basic division of magic is referred to as high magic and low magic. I don't like these terms, and I find them very biased. But they do have a historical use. High magic refers to ceremonial magic, usually drawing on complex rituals, languages, and symbols. Low magic, skipping around here a little bit, low magic is folk magic, intuitive and simple. Intuitive and simple, using the tools of the land in the cycle of growing and harvest. Okay, I like how he, sets these two apart. Ceremonial magic, while beautiful in its own way, does get things done, is very valid. No complaints about that. The folk magic, again, very hands-on, very much getting your hands dirty with it. Still valid, works perfectly fine. To each their own. The thing I have against it is whenever you try to be a little bit more snotty or snooty about the high magic versus low magic. Don't look your nose down on the low magic folks, the folk magic people, because they are getting things done just like the high magic people, the ceremonial magicians. They are still getting things done. They're still doing what they need to do, and in the way that they need to be doing it. So as long as if it's still working for them, perfect. No complaints about that. Let's move on. Magic is categorized by tradition and culture. The culture, and again, I'm going to be moving, flopping around here on different paragraphs. So, just to let you know, I'm skipping around. The culture will influence the rituals, deities, symbols, tools, and types of spells you will do. Okay. I totally agree with this. And I also want to stress that you don't have to get stuck into any one of these. You don't have to be one of those ones that are like, oh, well, I'm Italian by heritage, but I don't have to be strega. I don't have to go and study strega. I may be Irish by lineage, by my ancestry, but that doesn't mean I should necessarily only do Celtic type magic. An Irish person can do strega, an Italian person can do Celtic magic. It doesn't matter. Magic is still magic. And I think there's something that whenever we put labels on it, we start to try to gatekeep who can do what. And I think we get ourselves into a very a very sticky situation, let's just put it that way, whenever we start to try to gatekeep who can or cannot be part of, who can and cannot be practicing Italian witchcraft or Irish or Celtic witchcraft or Middle Eastern witchcraft. Magic's magic, and let's not gatekeep. Again, we're going to be talking about this here in a second. On 295, as long as you have respect, knowledge, and love of the culture you draw upon, you can work with these cultural magics. This is what the probably the longest discussion that I'm going to have during this part. And I have done a video in the past about cultural appropriation and how it was, especially a couple years ago, it was a huge uh, a huge term that came into my vocabulary of people who were doing Native American type of shamanic practices and had no part of their lineage being Native American, or people who practice uh, hoodoo or voodoo or Santeria, that people who practice that who are nowhere even near being somebody that is descended from the original tribes or peoples that those originally belong to. Um, the cultural appropriation thing, you know, my stance on it, and I believe, if I can remember correctly, the video that I did back then was still, if you have a an underlying respect for the culture, then I don't see an issue with it. As long as if you are sitting there and respecting it. Now, there is a difference in respect and, there's a difference between disrespect and making something your own. So by that I mean, you may go into something like, and I'm going to just pick something like voodoo. Okay, you may go to something like voodoo and love the practice, and you really jive with the type of practice and everything that goes along with voodoo. However, you don't jive with necessarily the deific figures of voodoo. So, and if you don't, then you do what everybody says to do, is you make it your own. You take the parts of voodoo that you love and that you enjoy practicing, and you use them in your spell work. And I think that's good. I think that's okay. And the reason I say that is because you still have a respect for the underlying the underlying practice at hand. You are still respecting voodoo at its core. However, you still have to make it your own, because not everything that is in voodoo in voodoo practice something that jives with you, if that makes sense. So yeah. Like Star Cassis, I think. Do I have her book readily available? Hold on. Let's see if I can grab it here. Do I? No. No, I do not. Hold on. I don't think I do. Okay. So, Star Cassis, and I guess I don't have the book here. I think it might actually be in my bedroom, because I know I was reading it one day, but I thought I brought it back into the witchy room. And you know what? These books are also like double stacked, so it could be behind the visible stack there. But anyway, Star Cassis has a wonderful book, Old Style Conjure. I do recommend this. And for instance, a lot of those are biblical in nature. Not necessarily. A lot of the spell workings that she has in there are biblical in nature. And if you are one that does not jive with the Bible, but loves the actual hands-on part of it, then I would say that the conjure work at its core you love, and you can take that and use it with your spell work in a Wiccan or Druid way or Strigan way, or however you do it, or an eclectic way. And I don't think that you are culturally appropriating something. And she even does say in there, in that book, about, people who are white doing the doing magic the way that somebody of color has done it in the past, or honoring the individuals of color, like Harriet Tubman, otherwise known as Mama Moses. And she even says in there, I think it's wonderful that they do it. And I personally have looked into my ancestry, and to my knowledge, I have not found any slave owners in my family history, at least not in my direct lineage, that I know of. And I need to go through and, hold a magnifying glass to everybody. I do know that there were, in some situations, issues with the first peoples of the nation, since part of my family came over on the Mayflower and whatnot. So there definitely was some issues whenever he was settling into Pennsylvania, that, yeah, it wasn't exactly great. Let's put it that way. But getting back to the point that she made is, it's okay for white people to pay homage to this practice and, honor this practice, because it is bringing us as races closer together. So, and I'm paraphrasing here, and I think I got that correctly. If y'all want, I can go and find that book and read it for you. Leave me a comment, whatnot. I'll put it in the description, or I will put it in next week's video if you would like to have the actual quote. So anyway, let's move on. That was probably the longest rant that I've had on, or that I will have on this video, I think. We'll see. Here's the long paragraph. It's at the bottom of 295. Magic is also divided by vessel or technique by the vessel or technique used to propel your intention. We have herbal magic, candle magic, cord magic, color magic, stone magic, dream magic, rune magic, tree magic, sympathetic magic, instant magic, and petition spells. Why didn't he say petition magic? I don't know. It would have just rounded it out. The OCD in me is kind of irritated by that sentence. Anyway, you may excel in one craft and feel no connection to another. Although I love both plants and crystals, I have found that many people who love one dislike the other and never learn its gifts. That's perfectly fine. We all can excel at certain disciplines and find others not to our liking. We leave those magics to other witches. Absolutely. Find what you are drawn to, the type of modality that you enjoy using. He says that they are vessels or techniques used. The flavor that you prefer, and go with that. If you are one that is into herbs and herbalism, absolutely learn everything you can about it. If you're one that does, you do a lot of cooking, a lot of baking, and you do kitchen witchery, absolutely go for it. Put that spell work into your foods. And you know what? I'm coming over for dinner one day. Just saying. Let's see, what else? If you are into stones, if you're a rock hound, go out and get yourself some rocks and learn everything you can about them. There are wonderful individuals out there that whenever they start learning about the metaphysical properties, they actually start learning the actual structures and the crystalline structures and everything of the rocks, and they can tell you, oh, this has this type of formation, that's why it goes in this way. Like my Shiva lingam, if you've ever seen a Shiva Lingam, it has like stripes on it, and that's because it tumbles in the, I think is it the Ganges? No, I'm not so sure. I think it's the Ganges. But it's the way that two different types of minerals are being pelted together in that river current that makes the unique shape and the unique style of a Shiva Lingam. And they're absolutely wonderful, and I love them. They're great for balance. But these individuals who are rock hounds will start learning everything that they can about the different types of rocks, the different properties of it, both mechanical and metaphysical, all that stuff. They will learn every single thing about it. Find what really makes your heart sing and go for that. Really study on that one. Become, the best that you can be at that one thing. And if you have time, go to the other ones. Nobody said that you had to master all types of magic. So, and then on 296, lastly, among the uneducated, witchcraft and magic are often divided into white and black, or good and evil. Most witches don't use these terms since they are oversimplifications of life. It's like saying black and white electricity, the power is neutral. It's the user's intent that matters most. And I like that we are examining this. And I like that as a community, we've gotten more away from saying white magic or black magic. We've gotten more to saying baneful magic, or healing magic, or prosperity magic, something like that. We are putting a better modifier on it. I think it would be the right terminology there. We're putting a better nomenclature to it, So, and then he goes on to talk about vessels for magic, also on 296. Many forms of magic, particularly simple folk magic, use a vessel to hold the intention of the spell. Not only is the vessel a tool, but often the spirit of it, particularly if it is a plant or stone, becomes your magical partner, just like the elementals. When you do these simple folk rituals inside a magic circle, you simply amplify their power. They work alone, but in the sacred space of a magic circle, they become a spiritual experience as well as an act of manifestation. Wow. I don't know what's going on, but my mouth, whenever I'm trying to read, is starting to do this stuttering thing, and I'm not enjoying that. So what we have here is where he's saying, and since I redid everything, okay, let's just go here. He's saying, okay, you're working with amethyst, and I have my dusty little amethyst here. Really cool. Love this thing. Needs to be washed, though. Definitely needs to be washed. But I have my amethyst here, and if I were to use this in spell work, basically, it brings its own power, and it becomes a working partner that has its own power, as well as any intent that I put behind it. Now, we were also talking before about the breath of life, and whenever we give breath to something. And I think we've kind of settled through the talking it out and everything, that the breath of life is awakening and giving a direction for this, because this is going to do its job no matter what. However, me giving the breath of life to it by breathing on it, or sharing intent with it, sharing that spark that makes us go as human beings, sharing that energy with that rock, gives it a direction, kind of funnels it to an overall intent. I think that's what we've settled on, kind of. I hope. I got that right. Next, we have candle magic. Candle magic is powerful yet simple form of magic. Absolutely. You know, it is simple to get a little candle votive. Tea lights work great, by the way. I think people underestimate tea lights for magical purposes. You know, you get a little tea light, they're only like that big. They last like, what, 3 hours or something like that? Incredibly quick to burn down. I've seen, who is it? Oh, come on. Son of a gun. I want to say Sunshine Morning Ray, but I know that's wrong. Oh, son of a gun, I'm trying to think. Oh, jeez. Oh, come on. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I can't find the name. But, yeah. Oh, son of a gun. You know what's gonna really bug me is that I know who it is. The name is on the tip of my tongue. Also a Christian witch, and she has actually said in her videos that she uses birthday candles. And I don't know if she labels as a Christian witch or not, but anyway, she uses birthday candles for candle magic, and you can anoint those and all that, and they only last like, you know what, 10 minutes, you know, quick little spell boosts. So, you know, tea lights, votives, if you're going to be sitting there for a little while, get yourself a tea light. You know, tea lights are quick and easy. You know, and you can even shave some of them down. You can add herbs to them, and we're going to talk about that stuff here in a minute. With page 297. Different traditions are sticklers about how to anoint the candle. The most traditional way is to anoint from the middle and rub the liquid out to both ends. Some say that if you want to attract something, you anoint from the top to the base. If you want to banish, you anoint from the base to the top. I found it doesn't matter as long as your intention is strong. Absolutely. Did I have that? Yeah, okay. I wasn't looking up. I didn't know exactly where it was. I was hoping that was in the frame. But anyway, you know, yeah, I think it's basically what it comes down to is your intention. And I don't know if I put in here, but he did say about a person that will rub or put the candle in oil, or, you know, have oil on it, and then we'll rub it in the herbs and everything. You know, practice fire safety, y'all. But yes, you can definitely do that. Tea lights, and I don't have, no, I do not have one here. Okay, for tea lights, you know what, give me just a second here. Okay, so tea lights, you have a little tea light here. A lot of times, and watch, this party light one's gonna just call me a liar. You know, sometimes you can coax them out, especially if you get the ones that have like the little metal bases. A lot of times they just like pop out of there and, you know, all on their own. But these party light ones are kind of staying in there. So anyway, a lot of times you can pop them out of their little holders. In the bottom, you can put any spell herbs or anything like that. You don't have to have a lot. I mean, it's not a huge area. You know, just put them in there and you're good. So you can definitely do that. You can, if you pop this out, you can cut around part of it, and you can have it on the outer edge of that. And if you want to, you can pop these out, you can put it in a votive holder and have it work that way. You know, there's tons of ways that you can do spell crafting with candles, and do them in ways that other people might not think of. So yeah, definitely something to think about there. Then he says on 297, only use new unlit candles for your spells. I can kind of disagree with that because cleansing and consecration is a thing. Why is it that we cannot cleanse this and make it, pure again? Why is it that once this is burned for an intent, does it have to stay only for that intent? Why does it have to get pitched just for that? Some of us don't have that much money that we can just throw away once used candles that were only lit once, and kept lit for like 3 hours. Not all of us can afford to just keep buying more candles. Now, me, I'm in a fortunate stance where I have done plenty of clean outs and whatnot. I have gotten, whole totes of candles for next to nothing or nothing. And yeah, I've done house clean outs and all that, and it's just a tote of candles that people had in their house. And so I am well stocked on candles for probably the next like 10 years. I could probably burn candles nonstop probably for the whole entire year if I wanted to. If I wanted to have one constant candle going all the time, I could probably do it. I'm not going to, because fire safety is a thing and you need to be conscious about candles burning, all that stuff. Anyway, y'all understand. Um, but yeah, I disagree with this because you can cleanse this candle after it's already been burnt for whatever reason. You can cleanse it, you can consecrate it, you can, you give it a new purpose for something else. Maybe I was using, it's a white candle after all, general use. Maybe I was using it for protection yesterday, but today I want to use it for money. Cleanse that and move on. Let's go. Anyway, so I disagree with him on that one. If you have the capability, absolutely, that would be a wonderful thing. But if you're pinching pennies and whatnot, don't think you have to go out and buy all the candles just so you can have one per spell. It's not necessary. Also, another thing, it's like I'm selling tea lights here. If you want to get a whole bunch of tea lights, Amazon, you can get like 1,000 of them for like $10, or 100 of them for $10, something like that. They are incredibly cheap, the white ones, and again, white you can use for any purpose that you want, and that's a good candle for you. And they don't last like too terribly long. So if you want to light a different candle every single time you're doing a new spell, that's fine. That'll suit your needs. So just something to think about. You can get those at Walmart or Amazon. You can get them at Target. Has them, like everybody sells tea lights. I mean, come on now. If they have a candle section, they sell them. Go for the cheap white ones. Hell, I think even the dollar store sells them. Anyway, let's move on to also on 297. He has here, old superstitions say if you blow it out, talking about blowing out a candle, if you blow it out, you offend the element of fire, cursing you with a twisted outcome or no outcome at all. In reality, you are not offending fire if you did not have a mean intent. I can agree with him on this. You are simply unbalancing the elements present in the candle, adding more air and causing the spell to either fail or manifest in an unwanted way. Snuffing prevents this from keeping the element balance inside the candle the same. Or keeping the elemental balance inside the candle the same. I sort of disagree with this. I don't play into the whole you have to snuff it out. I happen to have candle snuffers, so therefore I do snuff them out. But Yeah, and not only that, whenever you blow out a candle, you have like a lot of like soot that comes up and whatnot that just gets blown everywhere. If you put a candle snuffer the on the candle like that, you can let it like just sit there, like hover above the wax so it doesn't get all over your snuffer. But you can, have it sit there until like all the little soot like kind of settles down in like onto the wax. So it's a little bit of a cleaner way of extinguishing the candle. However, I would say if you snuff it, aren't you essentially suffocating the flame? You're suffocating the candle so it can't continue to work. Um, so I mean, this is a double-edged sword. If you're going to tell me that blowing on the candle can disrupt the energy balance, doesn't taking away air entirely or blocking air from it, doesn't that upset the balance too? This is one reason I don't buy into the, snuff it out or blow it out, uh, you know, type of superstitions, let's say. Okay, let's move right along on page 298, charm magic. Anything can be made into a vessel for magic. All objects contain energy and can be used to carry intention. All objects' natural abilities can be catalyzed by a witch. Jewelry is a favorite charm. Witches make magic with rings, necklaces, and bracelets. I don't have a bracelet, but y'all have seen my enchanting a ring video. Necklaces, similar avenue, particularly this, not this. This is Coda Houdini and Winnie. And one day Jelly, yes. Yeah, you'll be with them one day. We're not rushing on that one though, babies. Okay. Did you want to be on camera? No? Okay. Yeah. She doesn't like to be picked up, but she wanted to be pet. And apparently she wants a treat. We'll do treats at the end. Or did I pet you where the dogs were teasing you? The dogs have been going after Jelly and Karen. Whenever Jelly and Karen go into the dining room where the dogs are kind of penned up, until they fully, do their potty training thing. And yeah, sometimes they get the kitties good. Now the kitties are also taunting the dogs. So, there's a wanting of a hierarchy here and everybody wants to be on top. And I don't know, did they get you good? Did they bruise you a little bit? You don't seem to be hurt. They usually leave her alone. They go more after Karen because Karen does taunt them relentlessly. So, yeah. Anyway, like I said, y'all have seen my ring video. I don't have much to say on charm magic, though I do have something underlined here at the very end of the section on charm magic. There is no need to raise the cone of power since the energy raise is going into the charm. And I put a little note here. This can also be done with crystals to hold energy for a boost at a later time. And I think I talked about this in the Inner Temple of Witchcraft. I think I talked about that. Where if you have a crystal, like Chip, you can put energy in there so that whenever it is time to do spell work or something like that, maybe you have a day where you're high energy, take a quartz crystal, especially a quartz crystal would be great. You can put a whole bunch of energy in that, let it sit in there, and come to that whenever you need an energy boost. Just grab the crystal and go. That's it. That's a tea light, but you get the idea. Anyway, herbal magic. Herbal magic is the heart of traditional witchcraft. I agree. The witches of old, a lot of them were healers and midwives, and they were, people who helped out around town doing a lot of healing work. So I have nothing to say about that. What I do have to say is a reiteration on page 301. Make sure you consult a reputable medical herbal to determine if a plant is toxic before imbibing any plant. Absolutely know what you are dealing with. Know if you can put that on or in your body. This is just common sense, but does need to be reiterated, and I really enjoy that he put that in there. There are certain books that they will say mix this and mix that and whatnot, but they won't say to like dilute it, and they'll say, oh yeah, you can do this with cinnamon and this, and it makes a good thing to put, a good perfume that you can put on your body. And no, if you are putting like even partially diluted cinnamon oil right on your body, no, that is terrible. Don't do it. Many people will, like, your skin will burn. Now it's not poisonous or anything, but it's not a good feeling. So yes, I enjoy whenever an author puts those little things in there. And in reality, that's not a little thing. That's a huge thing that people really need to be aware of, that we are dealing with items that can potentially kill you, and you need to be aware of that if you're going to be working with these things. There's the jelly bean. You getting comfy. That's the same thing with the stone magic here on page 303. Before I read that, I want to say, like, some people say take a rock, lick it. Different rocks have different vibrations, all that stuff. And some people will say, oh yeah, I lick it, or I make stone water, and it gets the essence of that stone. Bad idea, because some of these stones that are out there, especially citrine, is citrine because it was colored amethyst. And, right? Am I correct in that? I'm pretty sure I am, but I could be incorrect on that. But it is because of the radiation that it gets, it loses its purple color, I do believe. But that's by far not the only stone. But different stones have like different radiation levels, and they have different levels of toxic type of minerals that are on it or in it. I can't remember which one it was that has like a level of lithium in it. But yeah, there's rocks out there that have all kinds of stuff in there that you don't want to just go licking, all willy-nilly. Most of the time you're going to be okay, but just don't do it. It's a bad idea, especially if you have some of these rocks sitting in water to make a stone water. And you are in fact imbibing that afterwards. Not a good idea. No, stop it. That's bad. It's dumb. Don't do it. If you want to have stone water, one good thing that you can do is, let's say this is your pitcher of water, and this is one of your stones. You can put it right next to there, especially if you have, like, say, you see the wick there? That's the quartz point. You can point it to that. Now you can make a crystal grid with your water pitcher, quartz points and other points around. You can make a crystal grid like that, and you can imbue your water pitcher with all those stones' energies into that water. You do not need to have half your rock collection chilling out at the bottom of the water pitcher. No, bad idea. Okay. Now, 303. Stone magic. Every rock, mineral, crystal, and metal has its own magical energy and vibration. Knowledge of stone magic is almost as extensive as herbal magic, found all over the world in every tradition. Skipping around, most witches work with crystals from around the world with different colors and properties, but the stones in your local field, hill, or river have magic in them as well. You will have to discover their power on your own rather than looking up an exotic mineral in a book. Okay, so a couple things here. It is a very, very extensive field to work in, and Melody's book, which we just lost Melody, I believe it was earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year that we lost Melody. And phenomenal book, Love is in the Earth. Where is that book? It's not over here. It's either, and I don't think it's up there. It might be in one of these. You can't see where I'm pointing. It might be in the hutch with the altar hutch. It might be in there or in the bottom of the, what you call it, of the geez, I can't speak today. The big hutch that was next to my desk, and formerly my background. But I don't think I brought it over here. I don't think I did. But I know I have Love is in the Earth, and it is a huge book. It is phenomenal, the amount of work that went into that book. And I cannot believe that Melody is no longer with us. But the work lives on. If you can afford it, because it is quite the expensive book. If you can afford the big book, which I have, I think the next size down, the big book has like everything. The next size down has a little bit less, and then I think there's an entry level type one where it's kind of like a Judy Hall book, which we also lost lately. Just recently, I think was it last week before? Yeah. So definitely get yourself one of those books if you plan on working with stones. I think I need to do a stone series. I really need to do a stone series. Because I have like Melody's book and Judy Hall's book, and I kind of need to sit down with my rocks and do a little presentation on the types of rocks and whatnot. And then we're gonna discuss some crystal grids and whatnot with all of that stuff. But future projects, let's finish this year of content first, and then we'll think of what we need to do in the future. I have ideas. Anyway, so he also says about finding stones in your local area. I have a little story. So I think I've shared this before, but whenever I first was on the Pagan Perspective, we had Dancing Rabbit and his wife Feather. And Feather was so kind. Matter of fact, her and I went on the Pagan Perspective whenever they first did like the subs and all that. And her, and Annie all got chosen as subs at the same time. It was awesome. But Feather sent me a set of runes from their local area in Texas, and I can't remember off the top of my head what river they came out of, but she had like on a little piece of paper, these stones came from this river. I was actually able to look up the metaphysical properties of those stones, and I cannot tell you for the life of me what the properties are now, just by recall. I wish I wrote them down, and I know I still have that slip of paper somewhere. But yeah, I have it somewhere. I know I do. But yeah, I was able to find the properties of a stone that was in their local river, and it was quite fascinating to see that there's somebody out there listing the metaphysical properties of these local stones, not just the pretty ones like amethyst and quartz and citrine and carnelian, and the whole list goes on and on. But yeah, you will be able to find those here and there. I wouldn't bank on it. However, you kind of can. If you know like what the stone is called and how to look for it and whatnot, you can find it. Symbol magic is the next one he has here on page 303. Symbol magic is another powerful technique, but less messy and less involved than herbal craft. It often appeals to the intellectual or scholarly witch. The purpose of symbol magic is to create a symbol that stands for our magical intention. A good overview. I do like the little section here on symbol magic. I think it is well done. I don't really have any complaints on that. I chuckled a little with that it's for the scholarly or the intellectual witch, because whenever you're somebody that likes to delve into the theory of witchcraft and the theory behind certain things in witchcraft, you don't like getting your hands dirty as much. I'm one that I don't like to get my hands dirty all that often. Sitting there and mixing something by hand is something that I definitely will do, but it's not an everyday occurrence for me. Most often, I'm one that I like to get a little tea light that sucker up, and then, because I have, there we go, right here, get a piece of paper, write a petition on it, set fire to that son of a gun, and then put this in the cauldron for it to burn. That I like to do. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy, and I'm just gonna stick that post-it right there because that's it's going to get used. Yeah, I have this little post-it note holder right over here. I have a whole bunch of stuff going on over here that y'all can't see, but yeah, none of it's really exciting. Anyway, we're moving on to page 309, covering chord magic. Chord magic uses various types of chording as a focus for magic. Chords figure prominently in traditional traditional initiation ceremonies, but can be used in everyday magic. Okay, I'm still getting tongue-tied here. Yeah, I have always been intrigued by chord magic, and hold on here. Give me a second. And of course, nope. I really need to know where all my books are, like the certain books that are always go-to. Hold on, I think it's actually, nope. No. No. Oh. It's actually right here. Okay. I might cut some of that out. So I will say that Devin Hunter's book, Modern Witch, does have a section on chord magic and making a witch's ladder. And if you are interested in that type of magic, it looks fascinating and it's wonderful and lovely and everything. Hold on, let me see if I can find the picture of it. Okay, y'all, this is Rich from the editing portion. Okay, so I'm about to show you something that I have found in this book, Modern Witch by Devin Hunter. The part that I show you is in the love spell section. However, this is the one that I wanted to show you. This is the it's called Crown of Success, which is chord, and look how awesome and beautiful that is. I do recommend this book, and I hope, now that I realize my mic is over here, I hope you can hear me. But I do want to go through this book and really show off some of the features of this book, because I do think this is a book that every witch should have on their bookshelf. So without any further ado, let me go back to the actual video that was recorded. This is one that hold on. This is just one that I'm putting it up after the fact. So there you go. Bye. So I have found it in here, and he actually has it on. This is on page 120 of Modern Witch, and it's actually under Not Magic for Love. I want to say he has a different area where he talks about the Witch's Ladder as well, but I have spent the last 10 minutes ish, yeah, looking for it, and I know it's in here. I remember seeing it. Um, and if it's not in here, then yeah, I don't know where it would be. But I do want to go through this book one day for for our Witchy Book Club series. But the Witch's Cord that Christopher Penzak has in here is also great. There's a lot of things that you can put onto a cord whenever you are doing cord magic. Absolutely. Moving on to page 311. Sympathetic magic. Sympathetic magic is ritually acting out whatever you want to occur through the law of correspondence, as above, so below. When you act something out in the magic circle, the microcosm, it will occur in the macrocosm, the world. Skipping around, the most popular form of sympathetic magic is the poppet, or voodoo doll. A symbolic representation of a person is made, such as a doll, but modern people often use photographs as well. Also, this book has in there about sympathy magic with puppets. Another one, if you are into puppet magic, is the Voodoo Doll Spellbook. I do recommend those. I think they are fantastic. And I do make little poppets. I crochet little poppets. Some of those might be coming to Christo-Paganism.com in the future, or maybe on my eBay store or whatnot. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll start up Etsy again. But yeah, I may start putting those online again soon. I want to get a few of them made first, and then put them up. So yeah, if you need a poppet, let me know. Maybe we'll do a giveaway sometime. Let's move on. We're almost done. On page 312. Energy is directed to the doll, and whatever happens to the doll is sent to the person who embodies it. Yes, I mean it's simple. It is a simple concept that, just opening up the Voodoo Doll Spellbook. Now I passed it. It gives one here on to heal a sick person. In this situation, your doll, your sympathetic magic doll, would be the sick person, and you're going to pour healing energy into it, much like whenever people do distanced Reiki healing. Doll baby spell for healing. Let's see. It has a honey boss spell where, you make your boss like honey. Unites two lovers. I will say, kind of be cautious about dealing in love magic that way. Yeah. I don't like doing love spells very often, especially since the last one kind of backfired. A demon doll spell to get even. Tormentor conjure doll. Yeah, there's some pretty malicious ones in here. But overall, I think they are very good for magic. Overall. A doll to trip up thieves. Cause male or female thieves to be frozen in time. Let's see. Paper voodoo doll protection spell. I mean, there are some really good spells in here that I kind of want to try out. Some I already have. Others I want to try them now that I have the witchy room set up, because whenever I was trying these, I had just mass chaos in my life. So yeah, now that I have actually things set up where I can do spell work on a regular basis in a designated area where nobody's going to bother it and whatnot, it's a lot easier. The last thing that I have here, I actually have two more things, is also on 312. Under poetic magic, spells are often passed down as poetry and song. This is another powerful tool both for memory and making magic. Yes, absolutely. Agree. Entire spells can be phrased in the form of poetry. Just make sure you get all the important points of your spell in it. Don't suffer any unwanted intention for the sake of making something rhyme. Yes, I agree with that. If you cannot get it to rhyme, don't freaking worry about it. It's poetry. I am one of those ones that I like to have things rhyme, and I must have things rhyme. Whenever it is spell work, I really need it to rhyme. And I will sit there and I will rework a spell and rework a spell to make sure that everything is just right, and so everything rhymes. And my rhyming isn't that great. I'm not a poet. I can't write poetry to save my life, but whenever it comes to spell work, I start rhyming. So, yeah. But if you're like a person that does rap and whatnot, again, that's poetry. That's fast poetry, but you can do spell work in a rap. I don't see why not. Tell me why you can't. Anyway, I think you totally can. And yeah, it's still poetry, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do it. If you can rap, then yeah, you can spellcraft. And it is a very powerful way of doing it. The way that you most often see it portrayed on TV, other than the wand. But yeah, you either see the wand or you see rhyming. Told you I was going to come back. The rhyming couplet, and then poof, whatever the demon of the week is dead and gone. I mean, you see that more often than not. So anyway, this has gone far longer than I anticipated. It is now like 10 after 9. I still have to edit some of this, and I have to get to bed because tomorrow is my early day at work. That means I start work at 8:30, not 9:30. But I do get out of work at 5 o'clock, not 6 o'clock. So it's a nice little trade-off. I would still rather just, leave work at 6 o'clock, and have that extra hour in the morning so I'm not rushing around. Kind of getting used to the later days, starting later in the days and whatnot. Kind of liking it. Yeah. Anyway. That's all that I have for our Witchy Book Club series, the Saturday post, the Outer Temple of Witchcraft, Chapter 13, Part 1 of 3. So, yeah, join me next week for Part 2, and join me tomorrow for our Part 2 of the... Oh, geez, come on, Rich. I am so ill-prepared today. For the Part 2 of the Beatitudes, where I'm going through the canonical scriptures, and we're going through the Beatitudes and discussing what those Beatitudes really mean for us and how we can take them to heart and all that good stuff. So if you are a Christian witch or Christo-Pagan in any way, or just find good meaning in, scriptures and whatnot, that's what we're doing tomorrow. Join me for that one, and then join me next week, starting with Terror Talk Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I gotta get out of here so I can get this edited down and whatnot. Until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye.